finals continue here in the Alexander Stadium, Birmingham, English Schools Championships. We can catch up with some more results.
Yes, we'll continue to bring you these results. Some great racing here today. Leicester and Rutland's Julian Adeniran winning 13.90 with a good following wind in the senior boys high hurdles. Callum Priestley, his teammate, taking the silver, and Simon Merrill of Raven, the bronze.
And straight on with the finals here. Number 51, Carmen Gedling of Merseyside, is one of the leading contenders in this final, the senior girls 400 metres. Here they go, Jade Peak, Hereford and Worcestershire in lane 1. In 2, Ejiro Okoro of West Midlands. In 3, it's Corinne Stark from Greater Manchester. 4, Gedling of Merseyside. 5, Francesca Keeble, Gloucestershire. In 6, Erica Smith of Middlesex. In 7, Catherine Sherry of Manchester. And in lane 8, Laura Skugel of West Midlands. They had a championship record in this event last year. Hayley Jones, who we saw impressively running in a shorter distance earlier in the programme. She's had a time of 54.33.
Well, there's Carmen Gedling for Merseyside in lane 4. Personal best of 55.35. The 17-year-old is the reigning national under-20 champion at 400 metres.
And
good
she
lane
won her heat impressively as well, Tim, didn't she? Fairly even start. Keeble of Gloucestershire perhaps made the best start, and Smith of Middlesex just outside her. Also Sherry of Greater Manchester has gone off very strongly in lane 7 and has already overtaken the girl on their inside, but now coming through, Carmen Gedling of Merseyside in lane 4, white vest and the purple shorts, the 17-year-old reigning national under-20 champion, still only 17, and winner of the intermediate title over 300 metres last year, testing herself over that extra 100 metres, so we know she's strong to this point. Will she be strong in the home straight? Okoro of West Midlands going well in the long white socks in lane 2, and she's beginning to tie up a little here, Gedling, and that could be fatal as Okoro finishes strongly, but Gedling might just have enough strength to hold on here. Oh, desperate on the line. I think she assumed that she'd won that, and Okoro assumed nothing of the kind. And that extra 100 metres did prove difficult.
Well, the last metre was decisive, wasn't it? Poor Carmen Gedling, who had led the whole race so fast, working really hard, a very high work rate, tying up badly in the last 40-50 metres. Ejiro Okoro in lane 2 for the West Midlands is such a tall character, loping stride, almost in slow motion compared with Gedling, but she does get there, no doubt about it. She dips well, works all the way through to the line, isn't really driving with her arms, but she doesn't stop working, and I think she's taken it, Okoro. Gedling loses it by leaning back.
Well, there's confirmation. I think she just was completely exhausted as well, wasn't she, there, Gedling at the end?
Well, and rightly so, the winning time 55.89. It is confirmed as Okoro. She did lose it there, and she worked so hard for it. Strangely though, Carmen Gedling, and I had her down as favourite prior to the gun, set off very slowly. She didn't get away well from the blocks, and she lost by probably a couple of inches. There's the new champion, Ejiro Okoro. Let's have another look at those last few metres, because Carmen Gedling certainly led for 390 metres there, and 399 metres probably, Alan.
I think it was here that she realised she was in trouble.
She just looks a little tight, doesn't she? The shoulders are beginning to rock from side to side. A lot of strain in the face there. She had worked so hard through the previous 300 metres. And I suspect Okoro was out of her range of vision over to her left, to the right, as we look at the picture, the tall figure of Okoro. But we can confirm there, she knew immediately she'd lost it. What a nightmare for her. And there is that confirmation, 55.89, 6 100s in it at the line. It didn't look that much, did it? Carmen Gedling of Merseyside takes the silver behind Okoro of West Midlands, and Jade Peak of Hereford and Worcestershire takes bronze medal, 56.36.
Gedling has learned a costly lesson, but Okoro, the Midland champion, the 17-year-old, takes the title.
Well, it's what all 400 metres coaches tell you, is run all the way through to the line. Don't ease up. How many times have we seen races lost in the last metre?
I'm not sure she had anything left. Right, the longest track final we've seen so far. Coming up now, the senior boys 2,000 metres steeplechase. There are 11 runners. It's a straight final. They didn't have to come through heats. Jason McGonigal, Phil Normal, Joe Wade, Tom Wade, Sean Collins, Josh Fairclough, Ashley Harrell, Ed Womersley, Daniel Morton, Michael Holden and James Wilkinson are the finalists here. It's a very long-standing championship record as well in this event, by the way. Goes back to 1989. Spencer Duval of Staffordshire, who went on to represent Great Britain at senior level, as I'm sure a fair number of the athletes on view today will. 1,000 metres shorter than the men's equivalent event. 200 metres is the first barrier, and then they encounter the water jump 4 times in all. That's the first. Phil Norman, the 17-year-old who won the intermediate boys title last year, he wears 21 in the red vest, the early leader alongside Josh Fairclough.
Well, the championship record held by Spencer Duval of Staffordshire, who went on to win the national cross-country title, the inter-counties cross-country title. He was a classy runner, Spencer, an international, indeed an Olympic steeplechaser, and his career reached its peak. He won this title way back in 1989. And Britain, of course, has a pretty good history in steeplechasing. You think of Mark Rowland taking the bronze medal in the steeplechase back in the Seoul Olympics in 1988. What a great runner Mark was over the flat as well as on the flat, and that's what's critical in this event. Alan, when you think how much time you spend running between the barriers, how much time you spend hurdling the barriers, people have said now that perhaps previous generations of steeplechasers have spent too much long on their technique and not enough time just running and getting very, very fit.
There was a faller there, and a significant one. 85 James Wilkinson. He's picked himself up again and rejoined the field. There he is, number 85 in the blue. He was runner-up in the intermediate equivalent event last year to the leader here today, Phil Norman. So he would have expected to be close to Norman again. He did extremely well. He came off the barrier quite heavily, and you only have to make one slip, of course, in an event of this nature to lose touch completely with the field. So that really underlines how well he has done. James Wilkinson, 85, to come back into contention again just a lap or so later. Norman still leads, the winner in the intermediate section last year, and he's since gone on to win the national junior title. He's from Devon, and his personal best is 5 minutes 59.75. That's number 21 in the red vest, Phil Norman. 65, Ed Womersley just behind him.
Seems very happy to lead, doesn't he? Of course, critical in this discipline is getting a good sight of the barriers, being able to gauge your last 3 or 4 strides as you approach the barrier and get a clean shot at hurdling it. And that's what Phil Norman decided to do. I think he's thought to himself, well, conditions not too bad out there. A little bit of breeze in their faces up the back straight, but generally good running conditions here at the Alexander Stadium. And he's really going for it here. He's beginning to stretch them out. It's beginning to break up.
It's an event, of course, that at the very highest level has been totally dominated by the Kenyans and 1 or 2 other African nations for so long now. Is one of these a potential challenger to those countries in the years ahead?
Well, always a good sign, I think, Alan, in distance races, middle distance races. If you're at the front, you're pushing the pace along and you can't see anybody, then clearly the guys behind you are either finding it too fast or else they're just happy to sit in behind you. But if you're comfortable yourself, just keep pushing the pace along, keep turning the screw. And I'd love to see young Phil Norman wind it up from here. It's been a brave effort this so far.
Just about a lap and a half to go. The leader, Phil Norman of Devon, number 21. Just alongside him, much taller athlete in the white vest, 65, Ed Womersley of Oxfordshire, 17 years old, and he takes the lead now, the Midlands champion, who was 3rd in the National Junior Championships. His personal best just a shade outside 6 minutes, so Norman is quicker than him. Do the water jump again. And those two have got a bit of daylight on the rest of the field, although Norman does seem to be fading, and the athletes behind could be catching him here. 37, Sean Collins in the orange, well placed, as is James Wilkinson, who, remember, fell early on, but it's a big lead now for Ed Womersley. And it's a lead, really, that none of the others in the pack look capable of reeling in.
Well, it's a huge lead, 300 to go, and the lad's got 15, 20, maybe 25 metres than the rest of them, and he's picking up his pace and looking very comfortable indeed too. He's judged this nicely, has the Oxford athlete, Sir Womersley. I think he could be well on the way to a significant personal best here. He's never broken 6 minutes. That's a nice little barrier to push through.
Wilkinson has moved into third place, and when you consider that he fell, that is some performance by the West Yorkshireman. But look at that huge lead for Womersley. As long as he keeps upright here, the title is his. Quick glance behind him as he came through the water jump for the final time, but he knows that he's got this race and the title in his pocket if he comes over this final barrier successfully, and he's done that. Phil Norman in contention for silver, although athletes are closing in on him, and it's going to be a massive new personal best for the new champion, Ed Womersley from Oxfordshire. Norman will take second. A real battle then for third and fourth place. Sadly for Wilkinson, the effort of regaining contact with the rest of the pack told in the end. But Womersley is the new steeplechase champion in the senior boys division.
Well, and he did it with speed, with distance to spare, didn't he? That's the quickest time by some 4.5, 5 seconds this year in the UK. And yet the lad's winning by, 30 metres is Ed Womersley. What a talent. Celebrating well before the line. The rest of them, well, they're pretty spread out too, because he really did spread eagle them with a lap and a half to go.
Finally judged race, and a well-deserved victory for the Oxfordshire athlete Ed Womersley. That just about completes the individual track finals, but we've got a whole host of relays coming up for you next, and of course we'll be catching up with the outstanding field events that we haven't as yet mentioned here in Birmingham when you rejoin us after this next break.